We are going to start with chemical exchange. Diego, what is a chemical exchange?
When one substance turns into one or more.
Okay, so I was putting here in my tube, I was putting iron with hydrochloric acid. Do I have right now iron with hydrochloric acid? No. Why not? Because during the chemical exchange, what's going to happen? The chemical composition of the matter change. What is forming there? You don't know if that's why you're here. Questions about that? No? Okay. Indicators that a chemical chain is taking place. Do you remember that? Okay, Mia? Bubbling. Okay, when you were observing this reaction, do you see a lot of bubbling? Okay, what does that mean? What does that mean when you put two substances together and you see a lot of bubbling? Noah? That is releasing a gas. That's super important. Why? Because at the end of this chapter, you're going to be able to predict the products that are formed. Okay? Questions about that? Indicator. Bubbling. What is another indicator? Gabriel? Yes, changing color. And that happens when you have iron, which is black, reacting with oxygen. What's going to happen to the color of the iron? Okay, it's going to turn like orange, like red. See, you have a changing color in there. It does an indication that you have a chemical change. But let's say that you have a piece of paper and you're coloring that with a Crayola. Is that a chemical change? No. So careful with that. Okay, another indication that you have. A ver, Pino.
Change in smell and change in shape.
Were you smelling that?
Yeah.
It didn't smell like good. Okay? That was the smell of the gas that was released. Questions about that? So in conclusion, what I have over here is a what? What type of change? A chemical change. Do I have a chemical reaction in here? Yes. What is a chemical reaction? A chemical reaction. Vocabulary words. What is a chemical reaction? What is a chemical reaction? Vocabulary activity. Vocabulary activity. A chemical reaction.
Reaction that changes the chemical composition of the
Did I spell that right?
distinctive.
Distinctive smell. If that was the chemical chain that you just observed, you have a gray solid reacting with a clear solution, and when you were putting them together, what were you observing?
Chemical change.
You were observing a lot of bubbling, a lot of bubbles in there, and what else? Because you were complaining, a distinctive smell, no? Okay. Iron, because now I know the composition of the solid, was reacting with, do you remember the name, Gabriela?
Hydrochloric acid.
Hydrochloric acid to produce iron chloride and hydrogen. Miss Ramos, what is that? You know what is this called?
C word equation.
Is a word equation. A word equation to describe what type of change? a chemical. How do you know that you have a chemical change? Because to produce what do you have in there? What type of compound is that? What type of compound? Type of compound? Eh? What? Why? It's a metal. You have an ionic compound, and what else is released? Which is?
A noble gas. I mean, no, it's not a noble gas.
Which is, and you saw a lot of bubble. Which is a gas?
Yeah.
Okay. Questions about that? That's a water equation. Water equations. Okay. Iron, which is solid, reacting with hydrochloric acid, aqueous, because it wasn't a solution, is producing iron 3 oxide, but you don't need to know that now because I didn't teach you how to name ionic compound made of transition metals. In an aqueous state, also releasing hydrogen, which is a gas. And what is this? What is this?
Formula equation.
Chemical. Why a chemical equation? What is the definition of chemical equation? Definition of chemical equation. What is the definition of chemical equation? Okay, thanks God today you didn't complete the bell ringer. What is the definition of a chemical equation? Mia? Can't hear you.
A symbolic representation showing the kind and amount of the starting material and product of a reaction.
Do you understand that? I'm so confused. Explain me that with your own words. What is a chemical equation? What is the difference between this word equation that you have over here and this chemical equation? What am I using there, Mamma Mia? In my chemical equation? I'm using formulas and symbols just to write my chemical change. Okay. I don't have to talk about this because you know that that's a symbol for iron. If you have the periodic table, you're going to be able to see that there. Okay. You don't know how to write the chemical formula for acids, but if you have to complete that in a test, I'll give you the formula. This arrow over here means yields or produce. Okay? So when you mix these two substances, what is going to be produced? An ionic compound plus a gas that in this case, hydrogen that was released. Questions about that? These two over here, the one that I was combining, reactants. What is the definition for reactants? What are the definition for reactants? Okay, yes. The substance that you're gonna put together. Okay? If these two over here, they are the reactants, what is the name of the two that will form the products? Questions about that? Questions about that? No? Now, chemical equation or chemical reactions, they can be classified according to the product they form or according to the energy that is involved. Javier, you were touching the bottom of the test tube. How was the temperature there? Warm. What does that mean? Because you have a shedding temperature. See, but when you're touching this and it's warm, heat was absorbed or was released? It was released. Exothermy, chemical reaction. What is the definition? What is the definition?
The energy released of the
So that reaction that I was passing around, it was exo or endothermic? But we are not going to talk about that now because later we're going to talk about that. So far, do you understand this? Yeah. Okay, you have a word equation here, just describing a chemical change. You can translate this word equation into a chemical equation. And once that you have the chemical equation, you are able to identify reactants and products. Questions about that? No? Are you sure about that? Another example. Let's go. Read that for me. Louder.
Carbon dioxide and water combined. Is that a P or
In the
chloroplast?
Have you heard that before? Yeah. Okay, chloroplast. Katie, chloroplast. What is that? She's looking at the book. You're not going to find that. This is not life science. Diego?
Something that plants have to make.
It's an organelle inside a plant cell. Continue reading, Gabriela.
To produce glucose and oxygen.
Do you have a physical or a chemical chain there, Gabriela? How do you know that?
Producing glucose.
Is producing new substance. What type of equation is this one? Gabriela?
Our equation.
Is a word. Why, Gabriela? This is my word equation. Why? Because you're just as simple. Because I'm using words just to explain or to describe a chemical change. Can you translate that word equation into a chemical equation? Gabriela is helping. Okay, Gabriela.
Yeah.
Chemical equation. How are you going to write that? Carbon dioxide. Just keep in mind that a chemical equation is a representation of the chemical chain by using symbols and formula. Hey, stop. Gabriela. Carbon dioxide.
Carbon dioxide plus water.
What is the formula for carbon dioxide?
H2O.
For Okay, let her think. Mom, Gabriela, carbon dioxide,
CO2.
CO2, carbon dioxide, so common, solid, liquid or gas?
Gas.
It's a gas. Combine
H2O.
H2O, so simple, solid, liquid or gas? Liquid. To produce, and then you have glucose, but you don't know the formula for glucose. It was a given, okay, which is a solid because that's sugar plus oxygen. But you know that oxygen is a diatomic molecule. Diatomic molecule. Gabriela, oxygen, solid, liquid or gas?
Gas.
Gas. And you're done. See that? This is an example, Gabriela, of what? This is an example of what? A chemical equation. Chemical equation. Gabriela, what are the reactants?
CO2 and H2O.
There you go. Whatever you combine at the beginning, react the products.
C6H2 and O2 and then oxygen.
Glucose, because you have the name over here, and the oxygen, the products. Questions about that? Questions? Jacob, you don't have any questions? You're talking, but you don't have any questions? Okay. Yeah? Another example. Today, your class word is to write the chemical equation given the word equation. You know how to do that? Okay. Questions about this? No? Gabriel? Shaila? What are you confused? What is the part that you don't understand?
How to write the reactants.
How to write the reactant. Why? In this case, for example.
That's how you say O2.
How?
Like in the parentheses on top,
Uh-huh.
write the O2 when you're writing the equation.
If you don't write O2 and you write O, that's fine too. Because at this point, you don't need to memorize what are the like the elements that are in the form of diatomic molecules. So don't worry about that. Uh-huh.
If you were just like, if you just had the reactants and you were told to like identify the products, how would you do that? Like without.
I'm not there because you haven't learned about the different type of chemical reactions. Okay, but we're gonna get there. For now, I want you to be able to write only the chemical equation. Okay? And now that you're saying that, you're gonna put that over here. Now that you're saying that, when nitrogen, hydrogen, oxygen, or any halogen is like released as a gas as part of the chain, then you have to put the 2. You have to put the 2 as a subscript because they form diatomic molecules. When oxygen is released, when nitrogen is released, when hydrogen is released, bromine, fluorine, chlorine is released as part of the products, then you put the 2 down there as a subscript because they form diatomic molecules. Questions about that? Another one? Okay. By the way, what is that equation? Are you familiar with that equation?
Which one?
That one.
There's like 3. I mean,
There are not 3 equations in there.
which one?
There are not 3 equations. There's only 1 equation in there.
Well, it's a chemical equation and a word equation.
They're the same.
Oh.
And that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Okay? I have only 1 chemical change. I'm using 2 weights. The word equation and the chemical equation. Still, I have the same change. What is that equation? Okay, John Alexandre. Photosynthesis. That's the equation. Photosynthesis. Okay? Matthew, can you read that? Read that for me.
When glucose reacts with enough oxygen in the molecule, the carbon dioxide is water.
Is that a chemical or a physical change? How do you know that, Matthew? Matthew, I'm talking to Matthew. Matthew, how do you know that? Can't hear you. And 2 substances are combining. And what happened? What happened? Huh? They create new substance. Is there over there? Is there a change in the chemical composition of the substance? Yes, because you have 2 different substances at the end. Matthew, what type of equation is the one that I have there? This is the word equation. Knowing the word equation, can you write the chemical equation? How? Okay, Matthew. Matthew, help me. I don't know how to write the chemical equation. What do I have to write in there? What are the reactants? What are the reactants? Glucose. So you have over here the chemical formula for glucose, which is a solid, reacting with oxygen, which is a diatomic molecule, and it's a gas Producing. What is producing?
Carbon dioxide.
CO2, solid, liquid, or gas.
Gas.
Plus,
Water.
what is the chemical formula for water? H2O, solid, liquid, or gas? Okay. This is my chemical equation. Matthew, what are the reactants?
Glucose and oxygen.
Reactants are my products?
CO2,
Okay. Questions about that? No?
Yes.
You have question, Isaiah?
When we're writing the chemical equation, do we need to put the reactants and products? Like every time we write it?
It depending on the question. You have to read the question. If you are asked to identify the reactant and the products, of course you have to do that. Questions? Another one? Another one? No? Are you sure about that? Okay. Read that. Can you read from there?
Sodium hydroxide reacts with hydrochloride
Chloric.
acid to produce sodium chloride and water.
Okay. Physical or chemical change, Mia? How do you know that? Huh? How do you know that? How do you know that, Pino?
Because it's producing two new substances.
Two new substance. Mia, what type of equation is that one? A what equation? Can you translate that into the chemical equation? Mia, can you translate the word equation into the chemical equation? Help me. And here I'm not gonna help you because you know how to write the formula for that. Okay, Mia. What is the formula? What is the formula for sodium hydroxide? Okay, Diego.
Sodium is
Sodium hydroxide.
Na 2.
No. Sodium hydroxide. Daniel.
NaO4.
No.
Sodium what?
Hydroxide. Jacob.
Is sodium
The formula.
the formula? Oh, wait. NaO.
Who said that? NaOH. That's for eh?
That's for hydro and oxide.
You didn't say that?
I was going to say, but then somebody said it without reason.
Okay. Is reacting with hydrochloric acid? You don't know. Okay? You don't know the formula, so I will give you the formula to produce. Okay. Sodium chloride.
I know that.
Diego?
Na 2
Bruh.
NaCl. Let's go about it.
Sodium chloride. Poly or mono. Okay. Reactants. And what are the products? Questions?
Isn't sodium chloride salt?
Yes. Questions? No? You don't have any questions? Okay. You don't have any questions? Are you sure about that? Okay.